Well, Harry Kane's future could be unresolved heading into the January window because Tottenham are unwilling to sell their captain, regardless of whether he signs a new deal by the summer or where they finish in the league. This is obviously huge news because Kane will enter the final year of his contract. We know there have been talks with him, but that's been put on ice because he's focusing on trying to deliver a top 4 finish. And the club are being quite patient with him. Their priority is to get the deal over the line, but they're being patient, they're leaving the extension there. He knows they want to get it done. Now, we know Manchester United have been strongly linked to Kane. They are long-term admirers and they retain a strong interest in the player, but they cannot afford a transfer saga in what is their priority position. Erik ten Hag wants a forward in quickly, and his ideal scenario is to have any new players in for the bulk of pre-season. United also have their own concerns in terms of financial fair play. They need to sell well. And more than anything, they want to avoid a war of attrition with Daniel Levy. The club has a long history of finding him extremely difficult to negotiate with. And so for them, they're looking at it and thinking, probably can't afford him. We also don't want to have this long-running battle for him. And ultimately, if he doesn't sign an extension at Spurs, we could revisit it in the summer depending on our business. That's their thinking now. If he doesn't sign an extension approaching that winter window, he can obviously sign a pre-contract agreement with clubs, and that situation is one Bayern Munich are interested in particularly.
Wow. Okay, it sounds like Tottenham are playing a little bit of a risky business, but like you say, we know how shrewd Daniel Levy is. What do you think on this?
I think conventional wisdom would suggest that letting a player enter the final year of his contract is not good business for a Premier League team if you're not considering his sale, especially if he's worth £100 million. But this is not any player. This is Harry Kane, and his value to Tottenham is worth so much more than that transfer fee, I think, because if you look at his contribution, he is a guarantee of goals. His consistency, his professionalism, his status as a reference point. Spurs are looking at it and thinking, if we get £100 million, what players are we going to oust top European clubs to get that are going to give us what we can amass from Kane? And so you can understand Tottenham's position. They'll also feel that his affinity to the club, and if they show that they are ambitious, that they can compete, will convince him to extend his stay. In their heads, this deal will happen. It just might take time. That's why they want to be patient with him. The club are also facing a period of transition this summer. We know Antonio Conte is due to depart. Fabio Paratici's future is uncertain. Now, you do not want to be replacing Kane amidst all of that. That's already a lot of upheaval. And I think much matters not just on where Spurs finish, but also who their next manager is.
So what about the player himself? Because, you know, we've had conversations with him, we've heard conversations himself, and Gary Neville have had conversations. You know, is he wanting to stay? What does he want to do?
I think there's no question that Kane absolutely adores Spurs. His priority, his preference, his first prize would be to stay at Tottenham and know that here is a definitive plan. We're going to be successful, and I'm going to lift trophies here, which will mean more to me than winning silverware at any other club. Now, is that realistic? It depends, as I said, on where Spurs finish, if they can secure a Champions League place, but also who they bring in. Now, if Maurizio Pochettino returns to the club, which is what a lot of players and staff at Spurs and the support base would like, he could convince Kane to extend. I'm also told if they show ambition with a hire like Thomas Tuchel, he could be minded to stay as well. However, at 29, he doesn't want to be the face of a rebuild or another project. He doesn't have much time left to play. It's not that he's old, because his style means that he will endure, but he's probably looking at it and thinking, I've had such an excellent career in terms of my consistency, excellence, output. I deserve something to it. And one of the things I was told by someone who knows him quite well is he doesn't want to be known as the guy who broke scoring records but had no trophies to show for it.